First of all, Lord Carlisle was removed from the independent review of Prevent back in 2019 because of concerns over his impartiality. Interestingly, he does rather seem to have changed his tune.
Does he?
Since last September, when he said, I think we should get out more information if we possibly can. And actually, we've learned from these events, when someone is arrested, the police probably need to tell the media who's been arrested and what their background is. So perhaps Lord Carlisle should come back on the programme and explain why he's changed his tune so significantly over the last 3 months, or has he been got at by the establishment and the likes of Number 10?
Given the
That's
praise,
the question
that's
he needs
a very
to answer.
good question, and given the praise that he heaped on Keir Starmer, telling us what a great job he did yesterday in explaining the law, I suspect he has been got at. How about this from Jenny, who sent this in on Twitter? Let's not forget the atmosphere at the time. People were already incensed and spooked by the Manchester airport assault on the policemen and women a week earlier. It was clear that truth was being managed. Add to that the difference in policing regarding the Leeds riots and those protesting the abhorrence of the killings. We had a new government and Starmer, and it wasn't looking good for free speech. And all of that feeds in, again, to the misinformation campaigns, the fact that, you guys have fought long and hard to finally get a charge on the Manchester airport people. And guess what, Lord Carlisle? Because they've been charged, we won't be talking about that. He at least admitted that there is a difference between being arrested and being charged, because legally that is the crux of the matter, isn't it? Surely.
It is, and I asked the Prime Minister in the PMQs back on October the 30th, the day after the Rice-In and our training information came out. I said, did the Prime Minister agree with his own independent terrorism legislation reviewer, Jonathan Hall Casey, who said we needed to get more information out earlier to prevent the information vacuum? And I would suggest, and I think many people now recognise, that actually, if more information had been put out immediately, as has previously been the case, then I think there would have been less of a feeling that we were being treated like fools. We were being treated like idiots. And I think that led to a sense of anger. No one's excusing the appalling riots, but it fuelled that refusal to give information, fuelled a sense of cover-up. And what we've seen is actually information was cover-up, and I think that the establishment class have essentially, through politically correct reasons, decided that we're not entitled to this information.
Because we're too stupid to know what to do.
Well, I'm afraid I think there's an element of that, and no one wants to talk about the elephant in the room. Would they have taken the same approach if it was someone else, if it wasn't someone from an ethnic minority or from his background? That is the question. I don't know, but I just think there is a serious element of political correctness.
There's no question
that has backfired very badly on everybody.
And yesterday's speech by Starmer did not actually clarify things. It actually made them worse, because it seems to me that he is covering his backside. It seems to me that he's saying the things that he's saying in order to try and make out that there was no cover-up, but he's practically admitting it. I mean, even in Telegraph today, we've got Merseyside detectives saying they wanted to provide more details about the killer's background, including his religion and his crimes, but they were warned not to do so by the Crown Prosecution Service.
In which case, frankly, I mean, this becomes ever more shocking. And people at the CPS, the Director of Public Prosecutions, no doubt another of Starmer's mates, has got serious questions to answer. Because if he forced the police, against their better judgment, not to give out information that may have prevented the fuelling of unrest, which in itself was inexcusable, then what they've got to accept is, OK, you made a judgment, you got it badly wrong. You've got to have the courage to admit so and say, we've got to change the way we do things, which is why I asked the Home Secretary in the Commons yesterday. I said, there is clearly a conflict at the moment between the need from the desire from the public and the independent review of legislation to get more information out there, and this fear that it might prejudice a trial. Well, in which case, we've basically got to change the rules on that point. It's incumbent on those in the House of Commons and the government urgently to, I think, just do it through guidance, not through legislation, because otherwise we're going to continue in this terrible pickle, in a spiral of a loss of confidence, and which also, is bad for everybody.
And what the government will do is they will attempt to then censor all manner of things on the basis that it will prejudice a trial. And I'm not having that, because we've got very fair and straight rules in this country about what indeed prejudices a trial. And if there is no trial because somebody hasn't been charged yet, then how can you prejudice it? You know, that's the whole point of the law.
I think what we need to do is to look at international comparisons. How do other countries do it? Because we're clearly not getting it right here, and we have to have the humility to recognise that maybe just occasionally other countries are a bit smarter than us and do these things better. And so, you know, we've got to look into that, because it's not working. You're ending up in this terrible pickle where, in a sense, this lack of information is fueling deep concerns about what's being covered up. And, you know, frankly, we've got to get the information out.
We've got to get it out there, because the people lack trust in the system. They don't think the system works, and they're absolutely right.
And they used to get this information out.
And they absolutely did. You know, I've been doing this job a long time. Lord Carlisle's a plank. Richard Tice, thank you very much indeed.